Thank you so much for joining me, Aaron. My name is Joy Davis, and I'm the field organizer for Pure Justice. And today we're going to be conducting a police misconduct and community safety interview with Aaron. Thank you for joining us, Aaron.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So, in your opinion, do you feel that police keep impoverished communities safe?
To be honest, it's about a 80-20 split where I feel like they do, but majority of the time I feel as though um, they're there to keep people down, kind of like a micromanaging situation to kind of keep down the riffraff, but at the same time, this it'd be like harassment of other people or seeing somebody get pulled over based off their license plate, and maybe their car's inspection is out and stuff like that. I watched them do it several times in our neighborhoods, and that definitely affects the individual and the families of that individual.
Absolutely. So, rather verbal or physical, have you ever been abused by law enforcement?
Yes, yes.
Well, how did you
There
handle
was.
the abuse?
How did I handle it?
Mhm.
Well, basically, my thing was to just continue to say, I'm complying, I'm not resisting. I always did what they instructed me to do, but the way that they would handle the situation as if I was the threat in the situation would make me feel uncomfortable. I've had them draw out guns in a situation where it was unnecessary. And I recently was in an accident, and that actually happened to me where they asked me to get on the ground, but he was saying, get the F on the ground, get the F on the ground, had his gun pointed directly at my face. And I just kept saying, I'm complying, I'm not resisting. I'm compliant, I'm not resisting. And he said, why are you saying that? And I was like, because I don't want you to shoot me. This isn't a situation where I have any weapons. I'm not a threat. And I'm down on the ground on my own cognizance. So I knew at that moment I was being detained, but I wasn't running. I wasn't fleeing the scene or anything like that.
Right. Now, did you ever report that abuse to anyone?
To be honest, no, because I don't feel like it would ever get resolved. It's the blue backs the blue, and us as the people, we have to have each other's back. But I don't know who I could talk to in that situation. Give the chief of police, you know, somebody's badge number and name, and then expect for them to do something about it, because it's
So,
always in favor of the police. They use uh, it's up to their discretion as a
right.
point of how much force they use, and it really it's a terrifying fact that I have to live with, knowing that they got each other's back, and even though right is right and wrong is wrong, they won't do anything to protect us besides say that they were there or that their presence was there.
Okay. So, do you believe reporting police abuse to law enforcement is an effective way to seek justice?
Uh, Essentially, yes. Like that's who we supposed to go to, right? But at the same time, you know, as you can see, there's been several cases where police are caught on camera doing the things that they do, and they don't. Oh, yeah, and they don't actually make a difference until it's caught on camera. It depends on the situation. Each scenario is different, of course, because I know that there are certain things that come in play. But at the end of the day, there should be a level of discretion that they can't cross when it comes down to that. Like they shouldn't be able to make the decision to take somebody's life because they're not listening. And if that's the case, you do have a taser, you do have mace, you do have the stick, the police stick. So it's like, I mean, the baton. So it's like, come on, you use your resources instead of the gun, because they don't want us to go out and be killing people, you know.
Right. Wow. Okay, so did you know every time the budget of law enforcement increases, it can't be rolled back? So whatever you gave them last year, you must give them this year. And law enforcement is $4 million away from $1 billion budget. How does it make you feel to know that law enforcement is $4 million away from $1 billion budget when people in the community have been and still struggling with food and housing insecurities?
Me personally, I believe that's crazy. Every year I see them get a brand new car, and they bringing people on. I know people got, everyday lives, but I don't believe that they should have that much money or that much power. They're a powerhouse for real. And at the same time, you know, like they want to do drug cleanup and keep our streets clean and stuff like that. But at the
Mm.
same time, these is the people that we working with sometimes to keep stuff going, depending on the person. Um, I haven't seen it, but I know that there's corruption in the big cities. It's easier to, what do we call it? It's easier to manipulate a weaker minded individual. And so sometimes, finances be a thing, people's 401k, stuff like that. I get all of that, but it is like you giving terrorists the opportunity to continue to terrorize our streets. And the money that you give them is a reflection of their power.
That's
So
right. So, how would you feel if we froze the law enforcement budget in order to fund the needs of the people? And I want to be clear, this is not a defund, it's a freeze. So,
right,
we would keep law enforcement budget where it's at, yet before putting another dollar into that budget that can't be shrunk, we would fund communities like building grocery stores and grocery deserts, property funding our education system, putting money in housing, childcare, better drainage and trash services, access to health care, transportation, and so on. How would you feel if we did some of those things?
um, it would give me some resolve, but as you said, it's something that can't be taken away from them. So it's only going to continue to happen, no matter how much money we give them, how much money we stall them from having. These people are going to continue to do the same thing over and over again, and it's based off of who's in that elected chair, and the people that follow. It is based off the agenda, what they're trying to do. How does it best work in their interests? And I
Right.
mean, um, police are opportunists, so it would help, but it just, you know, it doesn't put me at ease, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. So, if you could prevent the police from doing one thing, what would it be? And I'll give you some examples. We have chokeholds, no knock warrants, making arrest on nonviolent charges, traffic stops, dispatch on civil calls, etc. If you could stop them from doing one thing, what would it be?
I would definitely say um, the physical contact needs to be eliminated. Like nobody's personal space has to be invaded until they're being detained. I was put in the back seat of a police car, and they searched my car without cause. I wasn't smoking any weed and drink anything, but it was just the fact that I had warrants and they were under suspicion. This is what they told me. But I had none of those things, and they ravaged my things as they towed my car away. Um, I'm stuck in the backseat of a police car because I'm going down for warrants, but I still had insurance. My driver's license was valid. I didn't understand why at that time they were doing the things they were doing. And if that was one thing I wish could stop, it would be the physical contact. And then them to be able to not do those things because I felt violated at that point.
Got it. So give me a few words of emotion that come to mind when being pulled over by the police, if anything. Do you feel safe or not, and why? But give me a few words of emotions that come to your mind when you were pulled over.
Um, I haven't ran into an officer who didn't frighten me because every time I'm in that scenario, I feel like I do have a target on my back. So I try to do the best I can to lighten the mood. If I can connect with the officer, in a comedic way, I definitely will. I try to make light of the situation. Oh, sir, I'm sorry. I was driving so fast. I didn't pay attention. I have my music and I'm doing like this. And they, kind of trying to lighten the mood. But other than that, it's still, uh, it's a very scary feeling that comes about when you see the red and blue get behind you.
All right. Define what police accountability looks like to you, and do you believe that's currently happening in law enforcement departments across the county today?
Police accountability would be from partners who's on like watch or whatever on the beat or whatever they making sure that their coworkers aren't going that excessive mile, but they really don't say anything in this day and age where they just allow things to happen. And I don't feel as though they have any accountability. I've talked to a former officer who said he would be like, hey man, I don't think we should take this person in. But because they have a quota to meet, it's like pick the lesser of two evils. Either I'm gonna keep my job as a police officer, or I'm gonna make sure that this person and his family are okay. At the end of the day, we're just gonna give them another ticket, which is what they could do if they violate the law, right? But again, the police discretion thing messes it all up. Like they have that option to cuff and take somebody down, and like you said, it could be for like a traffic stop or something like that, civil dispute, and it's not necessarily the right thing to do. And I really wish other police officers would stand up and make that call, even maybe like the police chief lighten the load on what the officers have to do. Because if they don't feel as stressed, I don't feel as though they would do as much as they do.
All right. What type of resources could we use instead of police to address the vulnerabilities of the community in order to create safe communities? Housing, better funded schools, grocery stores and deserts, rec centers, transportation, mental health counseling, childcare, whatever resource you can think of. What would you rather see these go to?
That money should go towards mental health, number one. Uh, Rec centers to keep the kids off the street and stay doing something that'll help them develop a skill or a trade. Because when I was growing up, I started working at 13. I was working at a rec center. So that was the things that I did to stay out of the way because everybody's situation ain't the same. Single moms, children, things like that. Um, they all need help. The dads need help. Like, know what they getting themselves into. Like the rehabilitation program should help them find the job, not tell them, hey, you got to go out there and get a job and then you can stay here. It should help them find a job. It should be more resources in that sense. Um, I think I don't think grocery stores will definitely be a thing because it's not that bad. But a lot of people steal, so that might be counterintuitive. You know, but outside of that, I really do feel as though mental health is definitely a thing. Rec centers is definitely a thing. Um, Community projects where we actually are giving back to the community for keeping the neighborhood clean or building it up, with a new park and stuff like that would be more beneficial.
Got it. Thank you so much for your time, Aaron. Until next time, let's work to change some laws. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Anytime.